This computer. Hello, I'm Kurt, and we are playing Lighthearted. It is a game of 80s nostalgia, neon, and magic, and this is on the Gauntlet. So this is the second session that I'm running on the Gauntlet, but this is the first session for this group of players. So we're going to go around and introduce ourselves. The way I'll do that is I'll introduce myself, and then I'll throw it to someone else, and then that person can throw it to the next person. And when we get back to the end, we'll come back to me. So, hi, I'm Kurt, he, him. Barry, you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Barry. I use he, him pronouns, and I can occasionally remember my keyboard shortcuts. Puckett, you're next.
Hi, I'm Puckett, he, him pronouns. I'm also having trouble remembering keyboard shortcuts and not inadvertently clicking on other things. Pearl, I believe you're next.
Yes, probably. I'm Pearl. I use she and her pronouns. And I think that's all we're saying right now. Awesome.
And I'm Lauren. I use she, they pronouns, and I'm very happy to be here.
Awesome. So let me tell everybody a little bit about Lighthearted, the world, and what we're going to do today. And then we'll jump into characters. I believe there is a lot of choices already made about characters, so this might go quickly, which is exciting. Usually it takes a little longer. So the world of Lighthearted is a romanticized version of the 1980s. It's not our 80s, though. It is an 80s. It is the 80s of Gem and the Holograms and weird science. If instead of having computers do literally anything, it was just magic. So if you want to put bras on your heads and summon a fairy, we're going to call that magic. That's the world we're in, right? In this world, we don't have the same religions as we do in our world because there are fantasy elements kind of commingled throughout all of that 80s pop culture that we love. So there's a fantasy religion, which is sort of the only religion in the setting. In it, there are four gods. There's Magus, the god of magic. There's Celestia, the god of prophecy. There is War, the god of, like being tough and stuff. And there's the Traveler, who just kind of is where he wants to be and does what he wants. Other than the fact that they exist, they're not necessarily all that important to the setting unless your character thinks they are. So a long time ago, they did some stuff, but now it's just like the thing that grandma does on Sunday or the thing you say when someone sneezes. It doesn't come up all that much in day-to-day life. And they're not active. It's not like D&D gods where they would like come to Earth and do stuff. It's just the like sort of passive in the background. Unless, of course, one of your characters wants to be really religious, then we can explore that. So that's something we'll make a choice for each game individually. All right, let's see. There were other things I wanted to say. Okay. In this setting, everyone has the ability to do magic. So anyone can use magic. Magic is tied to light. There are the 7 different colors of the visible spectrum. Each are tied to different types of magic. So like red might be tied to heat and fire, or green might be tied to growth and peace and transformation, or blue for scared might be tied to illusions and things like that. On top of that, light and magic both influence your emotions. So each color of the spectrum is sort of related to a type of emotion or a way that your character might feel in a scene. So when we roll dice in this game, you're gonna roll traits. These are like things like bod or motor or I should look at the things so I could just list them and not try to guess. Mental, psych, glam, and sway. These are sort of your ability, like the things that you're good at, the things that you've learned to do. They're represented by a die type, which we'll choose. I believe some people have already chosen. higher is better. And emotions, instead of you choosing a die type, they're based on how your character is feeling at any given moment. So when you enter a scene, you're going to set your emotional state. This is a lot of information. I'm moving fast. So, but we'll come back to this as it's relevant. But I kind of want to go over it real quick so that we get this all at the top. When you go into a scene, you're going to set your emotional state. Basically, how does your character feel when we walk into this party? Or how do they feel at, sitting here in class? You're going to choose one of those and you're going to put a checkbox on it. That becomes your emotional state. Then anytime you have to roll, we're going to choose the emotion that fits the action that your character is doing and roll that die. If it's not your emotional state, then your emotional state will move one tick closer to the die that you rolled. Does that make sense? It'll make a little more sense in play. It's one of the most complicated things in the game. So that's why I wanted to cover it at the top. That way, when I explain it again, you already know about it. All right, cool. So we talked about magic. We talked about emotions and their tie to magic and color. Neon light in this setting is really important to the world, to your characters, because the type of magic you can do and the way that you're feeling are all kind of influenced by what light is in a scene. So when we come into a scene, I might ask, well, what color neon is in this room? That's not just like color. It's going to be important, right? If you walk into a goth club and it's lit with blue light and you want to throw a fire spell, that may be complicated, right? It might be difficult to do because you don't have enough red light in this room to draw on that and use that magic. Also, you might just feel sad because there's so much indigo in this room. Things like that. So when we talk about color in a scene, it's a little bit more than just, what does the backdrop look like? Awesome. Okay. Make sure I covered everything. Sweet. Yes. All right. So you are all college students. You all go to the El Camino Community College of Magic and Technology, which is a community college. So you did not, you're not the best of the best. You are not going to an Ivy League school. We'll find out why, probably when we do ties, which are sort of the bonds in this game. All right. So we're going to jump back into characters, and I'll just run through the steps and make sure, and nobody had any questions, but feel free to stop me at any time. I'm just going to kind of blow through these steps because people did make choices already. So the first step is to pick a clique. You had to choose between prep, jock, rebel, geek, or outcast. Was there any questions with those or anything anyone needed to know about that step? All right, looks like we're good. Next, you choose 3 malfunctions. Malfunctions are the things that society thinks about your character. When you lean into those expectations, you get to gain heart, which is like a meta currency. If you've played games like Fate, then you're familiar with Fate points. They work kind of like that. They work a little closer to Savage Worlds bennies. But they're a meta currency you can spend to reroll dice or try to prevent yourself from getting hurt. When you resist the expectations of society, that's when you gain XP. So those malfunctions sort of drive, they aren't specifically things that are true about your character. They're things people will believe are true about your character, if that makes sense. Any questions before I move on? No, we're good. All right, so next, after that, you'll choose strengths. These are, beneficial things, that skills, knacks, and trait and abilities that your character has gained over time. You start with 1 by default based on your clique, and then you get to pick 2 more. Let's see, any questions about strengths or the strengths that you had to choose from?
I had a couple of questions here and there about
Yeah,
like specific things, but I thought we could go over the overview and then I can
Sure.
ask so it doesn't interrupt the flow.
No, you're good. We can come back to that. Okay, cool. After that, you assign your traits. So you get an array, or I think I phrase it differently in the book so that people don't need to know what the word array means, but you get 6 die types. 1 is a D8, 2 are D6, and the rest are D4s. And you're going to put those in your traits there. Now, I think in the PDF it explains what each one does, but Bod is your strength, physique, and resisting physical conditions, or how many physical conditions you can take. Motor is your dexterity, your speed. It might be driving a car, stuff like that. Mental is like book smarts, and psych is emotional intelligence. Psych also covers how many emotional conditions you can take. So if someone insults you, you get a little embarrassed, that's an emotional condition. Your psych is going to determine how many of those you can take before getting knocked out of a scene. Glam is your style, attitude, and wealth. So like, I mean, the hot kid doesn't necessarily have to have a high glam. They could have a high physique, right? They could have a high bod. But someone with a lot of attitude, someone who knows how to use what they've got, someone who's pretty wealthy and knows how to use that to solve problems, that's where it's at. You don't have to have a high glam to be rich, but if you want to use your wealth to solve problems, you got to have a high glam, if that makes sense. And then sway is argument, lying, or persuasion. So that's anything where you're not just relying on, pure attitude. All right. Any questions on traits before I move on? Cool. We talked a lot about emotions already. The 7 emotions, everybody knows Roy G. Biv, so it's tied to the rainbow colors. So you've got red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. And they sort of work on a spectrum where you sort of move back and forth on this thing. It's based on a psychological, emotional spectrum that I sort of undid from a circle and flattened out. But so you got hot, wrathful on one end, or passionate. It doesn't have to be an aggressive or angry action. It can be just like high emotion. Orange is aggressive or vigilant, like you're trying to defend someone or you're on guard. Yellow is joyous or optimistic. You think something's going to work out well. You're probably feeling yellow. Green is peaceful or trusting. So that's like centered. It's right in the middle of the thing. Blue, confused or surprised or scared. So fear kind of fits in here. Also, surprise. Basically, the difference between yellow and blue is yellow is you don't know what will happen and you think it'll be good. Blue is you don't know what will happen and you're pretty sure it's bad. Indigo is sad, remorseful. It has happened and now you wish it hadn't. And violet is cold and unfeeling. You basically lost all emotion and you are, you stopped considering whatever this is your problem. All right. So that's what the emotions are. And like I said, we don't like make any choices about them now. We'll make choices as we enter scenes and throughout the scene. Any questions before I move on? Cool. Next is to create a bond. Bonds are an NPC. They're a secondary character or a non-primary character because we're all players in this game. So they can have archetypes. The types of bonds are the anchor, the BFF, the criminal, the lover, the mentor, and the pedestal. Now those have mechanical effects, but I usually only bring them up if we're going to play in a longer session and I know people are more familiar with the rules because it's just more bookkeeping. Now, if you guys want to bring up their mechanical effects in this game, we can. Like if you've read the rules and you're familiar with it, we can go over what they do. Otherwise, it's just sort of a way to say this is a positive relationship, a negative relationship, a romantic relationship, that kind of stuff. So it's just some sort of guidance into the types of characters that might be useful to you as you go through this game. Any questions before I move on, or anybody want to talk about the mechanical effects of bombs?
You mentioned if someone had read the rules. Were the rules somewhere that I was supposed to read them?
No. I know some of you have bought them. I don't know. It's not necessary to have them. Usually for games like this, I just sort of skip the mechanical effects of bonds because it's more to learn and it's more to stack on. But if you're interested, I can go through it and we can talk about it. And I can even grab that page and get you guys that page.
Whatever everyone. I don't want to be like interrupting the game with questions if there are important things that I haven't read.
Are you still doing this as playtesting, or are you doing this as just kind of running a session?
So I'm just running this session for you guys. I will, of course, if things come up that I feel like need to be solved, the rules may change based on it, but I don't need to play test those rules right now.
Okay.
Yeah, if that's a concern, it's not a problem for me.
I was asking just in case you needed us to kick the tires on something. If you don't, and you think it's a little bit more complicated than it needs to be for the 2 sessions we have, I'd say let's just play.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so we'll just use these as NPCs that you've generated for me to go and complicate your lives with. So all you really need for those is a name and a description. It doesn't have to be super detailed. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. And then lastly, we will find out who you are. So we want to know your name, your presentation, which is like your pronouns, whether you present masculine, feminine, cis, however, whatever your character presents as, that'll go there. We also want to know about your style, which is how do they dress? How do they wear their hair? How big is their hair? How acid washed are their jeans? That kind of thing. And then their story. I'm okay if we don't have your character's story at the start. We can learn who they are through ties and through play. So that's totally cool. And then the final thing that we're going to do is ties. But we'll have everyone introduce their character to the group before we do ties, because those are like the bonds that you're going to have between each other. And you'll want to know who everyone is before you start asking those questions. All right, that's the spiel. Hey, look, I think I got through it in like 15, 20 minutes. I don't know. I should shorten it. Cool. So were there any questions?
Not yet, but I'm sure I'll have one soon.
Okay. Did everybody get through their character? Lauren, did you manage to?
Kind of. I mean, I've been frantically trying to do that whilst you were talking. So I
Yeah, no
apologize.
problem. Yeah, you're good.
I have a few things that I wasn't sure about decision-wise. Like, I think it's filled out, but I was like iffy on.
Sure.
So I don't know if like getting advice is a good idea or not.
Yeah, go shoot.
But let me find where it was on the page that I was. Oh, so like there's on the list and the crazy rich, and I just have no idea which one is likely to come up more often, and that makes me all like, oh, I don't know which one to pick.
Okay. So I believe crazy rich boosts your glam, right?
Yeah. No, it
or it gives you
your glam anytime your excessive wealth would help you solve a problem.
Right. So I'm looking at the wrong character.
And the other one is there isn't a VIP list in 100 miles that you're not on, and you can drop your name to get into pretty much anywhere.
That one, with what I had, I think I'm scrapping what I had planned because one of our lines adjusted it. So I'll pivot there. But I would say that Crazy Rich might come up more.
Okay.
Between
That's what
those
I picked,
two.
but I was like, and then the other thing was the one that you have to take with this playbook does in fact increase your glam 1 step, which I assume means 1 die level.
Yes, yeah. So it would go from a D6 to a D8 or a D8 to a D10.
I don't know. I'm bad at picking these kinds of things.
No, you're good.
I was like, should I have is it better to have 3 D6s and a D8 or 2 D8s and a D6? I don't know. I don't feel like I know what the game is going to be like. And I'm like, I don't know how to make choices. Yeah.
I would say that if you're the type of person that will feel like bad if a choice you made doesn't specifically come up, if we miss something, say you put a D10 in something and it doesn't come up as often as you thought it might, if that would make you if that would be an issue, then I would go the spread, right? With a D8 and several D6s, just to sort of hedge your bets. But I tend to try to, you always get to choose what you roll. So you just tell me how you're solving a problem. So if you want to go all in on glam and you want to solve problems that way, then it'll come up. it's going to be a lot of your input usually.
It's less about like sometimes failed dice rolls are the most fun.
Yeah.
It was more just about like for the character, is it better to be more well-rounded or like I don't know.
I like having a D10 because that makes me feel cool. Because I get to roll a die that wasn't in the array.
I've played Dungeons and Dragons for like 30 years, and it did not even occur to me to put a D10 on this sheet anywhere. Shame on me. Oh, such a disappointment.
Know what I'm doing now. Just for the fun of it. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it. Any other questions before we have you guys introduce yourselves? Or Lauren, I don't want to rush you too, because I know that I blew through that and some other people worked ahead. So I don't want you to feel rushed either. So do you need time? Do you have questions?
I think I'm good. I think I just finished. And if I haven't, we'll find out along the way.
All right. Okay, cool. Sweet. So yeah, well, we can solve problems as we go. And we have a second session. This is the first time that I'm running this game for the same players for more than one session. So that's exciting for me. So yeah, so we can always tweak things at the end. Something I forget to mention that is in the rules, but is not specifically on this sheet, is you gain XP when you hit the XP trigger on your malfunctions, but you'll also gain XP anytime you keep a roll of 3 or less. So try to keep an eye out for that if you roll 3 or less to mark XP there. And yeah, all right. Go ahead.
I had a question just based on something I found in the folder, which was there were like classes and things you could purchase after.
Okay, so there are so there's a few things in that folder. One of them, oh, you know what? They might actually be the old version of that PDF. Let me look. Oh, that keytar player. All right, let's see. So good. Oh no, it is cool. So so the strengths that you see there, that's how character advancement will work. So you can either buy another strength from your list. You can spend 5 XP to up a trait, or you can buy into one of these courses. So like Intro to the Arts, the first one you always have to buy the first one in the course. But so you would like buy Art Studio, and then suddenly you have an art studio, and can always produce the stuff to do your art. Intro to Coaching, you'll you are you learning how to be a coach. So like you boost your sway, you get ways to interact with other players that aren't typical for a character. Stuff like that. So yeah, so if you want to look through those are things you can spend XP on. Each one of those basic bolded words is going to cost you 5 XP, unless it has other requirements other than just buying the first one in the grouping. Or in the
but
course.
You don't buy one like right away to start, right?
It was something I was considering doing. If you want, you've got 2 extra things you can buy. So if you want to start with one of these, like if one of them screamed at you and you're like, oh man, I don't want on the list or Crazy Rich, I'd rather be an artist or something like that. Like I'm cool with you guys buying the first one in a package now, or the first one in a course.
I mean, I thought it sounded cool.
Yeah, no, go for it. So it'll be you'll get your 1 strength that you're sort of forced into, and then you get to choose 2 more, right? That's what it says in this thing. I just want to make sure I didn't rewrite my rules in a way that I was wrong. Yeah, choose 2 more. So definitely pick one from your click, so that the characters sort of have that iconic feel of their click a little bit. But to branch out, you can choose your second one as one of the ones from a course. I want to be a goth journalist. Yes.
No, I was going to be a journalist. Pocket.
There's no niche protection here, but They are, I mean, the journalism one does add some mechanics to the game. You get these clue tokens, which kind of function like heart does.
I mean, I was interested in the art studio one, but one of the classes you have to have a thing that I think is from another playbook. So
let's see, art studio. Oh, Indigo Monday. Yeah, that is from the Outcast. But you can buy things from other playbooks. You just can't have, or not playbooks, other clicks. But you can't have more from one click than you do of your own click.
Okay, so to start, we're having. Let me get back to my own character so I know what I'm talking about. Where is my own character? Here? Yeah, okay. You get your main strength, and then we're still picking 2, or now we're only picking 1 if we want to pick a class.
So you would pick 1 from your click, and then you would get to pick 1 from one of these classes, one of these intro to classes.
Okay. And then otherwise we can get a class with XP?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. And it's 5 XP.
Okay. And that would get you the intro class, which doesn't really give you any.
Yeah, like if you bought Intro to the Arts, it does, it gives you a space. This is a little bit more campaign focused, right? Gives you space to do your art, but also you can always produce whatever you need for your art. That only really gets really interesting if you choose illusion, because if it's dark, you can't do magic. But it means you always have the right color light to do an illusion.
Interesting. So does picking the intro thing give you the first class on the list then?
Yeah, so you would pay 5 and buy the first one, Art Studio. This is probably phrased a little off, so I think what I might do is make it obvious that you are buying this thing, and then it gives you access to 3 more.
Okay.
Just so it's more clear.
I think I understand now. Sorry, it took me a minute to.
No, you're good. This is one of the newest things that I added to the game. So,
Bucket, are you taking the journalist one? You totally are, right?
I almost feel like I kind of should, considering that I've just been sitting here writing fanfic journalism from a goth perspective in chat.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Could be a poet or a fanfic writer, but okay. Okay.
Awesome. Okay, cool.
So all I have to do is untag one of the strengths that I picked and then replace it with intro to journalism.
Correct. And you'll get observant, which is the first one in that grouping, or the class. So yeah, we'll see how well that plays. If it feels good having to say, I am investigating this mystery, the mystery of blank. Add a bit of ritual to the game. All right, cool. Any other questions before we introduce everybody? Awesome. All right. So let's go and I don't know what the order is for everybody. I don't know if it's different. I think it changes when people mute their cam too. It drops them to the end. So, but we can start with Barry, or actually, you know what? We'll use the thing that's in the Google sheet, because that'll make it easy for everybody. Oh, tones should be hidden.
And I'm still not on camera yet for a minute, so you might want to start with Barry after all if he's willing. Yeah,
that's fine.
We can go from right to left. That works for me.
Let me hide tomes here, because there we go. I hope that didn't bounce that out of everybody's view. Cool. All right. So Barry, we'll start with you. You want to introduce your character?
Sure. I'm playing Billy Cardenas. He, him pronouns. He is a jock. He's presents as a cis man, the bro next door. He did let his conditioning go a little bit after the senior year. Has a clean shaven style with tight pants. Keeps his teeth just as pearly white as ever. His Letterman jacket, however, has been replaced with a series of El Camino hoodies. However, his backward blue hat from the high school that I still need to name is a constant. Right now, I'm just having a hard time adjusting to college. Like, I thought it was just like the thing that you do when a scout doesn't bring you a letter of intent to sign. So I think I'm I think I'm definitely in like the 2-year like business associates program. And yeah, what else would you like to? What else can I touch on? I have a bond. I have an anchor.
Sure. Tell me about
My former left tackle Kyle James. He was also my study buddy who I helped pass trigonometry and English lit and biology. And like, Kyle is a great big guy, and the curly black locks that used to like get like stuffed into his football helmet have kind of been like matted permanently at the back of his neck. But like, he makes a pretty okay commission down at the new to you used car lot. So I don't think Kyle followed me to El Camino, but I don't think that the El Camino is terribly far from where I went to school. So
awesome.
That's what I've got.
Okay, cool. So I've got Billy the Jock, and you are the bro next door, which I love. Next door. Awesome. And you've got Kyle the anchor. I love it. Okay, cool. And he does car sales. He does not go to school with you, right? He's just working.
Yeah, like, I think that I don't know how he landed the job, but yeah, he's like bought a suit, went to the interview, and like, I think New to You is the kind of place that like as long as you're selling, like, you've got a job.
That's all that matters.
Yep.
All right, cool. Let's see. And then I'm just going to take a peek at your malfunctions. The one that you didn't take is but I have practice. So we're not going to see a lot of dealing with obligation. So, so something else that we didn't talk about. There is a section on this sheet called Chosen, and there is a thing that says class. No one asked about that. Someone did last time. There's 2 ways you can do that. You can choose it before or after you start character creation. I like choosing it during the game because in this world, people get chosen when they are exposed to dark magic as a way to, they are chosen by the light as a way to push back the darkness. So if you guys are cool with it, we'll try to have that hat come up when you're exposed to dark magic. Yeah? Okay, cool. All right. So we'll just work our way backwards here. So Lauren, that would put you up next.
Awesome. I will be playing Ashley, who uses she, her pronouns. She's just like what I picture to be the stereotype of an outcast, who wears a lot of like combat boots and leather. I think she likes a bit of like red lipstick and better nails, and has that kind of mix of femininity and like sort of masculinity and like that kind of thing. You said we were at an Ivy school, right?
No, you are at a community college. So.
Oh, it's even better. Okay, yeah, I'll go back with my original. I'll change my original story. Yeah, so I think that her dad is an English professor here. And the wage is not enough to take care of like the 4 to 5 children that he has. So Ashley, on top of like trying to keep her student debt in check, is also working to like help her family get by and just doing like daycare or something for like a kindergarten kind of thing after school or on their off days, and then like just waitressing during the day on the weekends, and it's just like has no time to socialize. But that's okay because she super doesn't want to socialize with anyone anyway. She hates people. Apart from her bond, who is someone she's put on a pedestal, that's Riley, who uses she, her. Sort of like a super hot, preppy sophomore who is just a loud advocate for like literally any issue that's going on campus, whether that's like student fees or like their making like membership to the student union voluntary, and that's going to like ruin the student union, or like is like anything that's going to compromise like the students who are on campus. Sort of wears a lot of florals, like cares a lot about her appearance, quite feminine, and even though Ashley would never admit it to herself or other people, she's a massive crush on Riley. Even though they're so different, because Ashley doesn't care about anything. I think that's kind of Ashley. Unless you have other further questions.
Oh yeah. Let me see. So you mentioned that your dad is struggling to put you through school. Do you still live at home?
I probably do. Yeah, like Dad probably like the family's still here. Like I go to the community college here. It's one of the reasons why she never took English.
Nice.
At college.
Yeah, don't want to bump into Dad at school. That's weird. And then you mentioned she does a lot of odd jobs, right? Like she works at like waitressing and stuff like that, or was that somebody else?
Yeah, no, that's her. In fact, like
Okay.
she could probably have a part-time job at Kyle's family's car shop.
Oh, okay, cool. So you work with Kyle?
Yeah, if that's cool with Barry.
Cars need washing.
Yeah, I do a lot of odd jobs at the car place.
Do you do that, or are you the oh man, what's the name of the job? There is a person who sort of takes all of the repairs that come, like anybody who comes in to get a car repaired, you have to take that order and like assign it to a mechanic.
Oh yeah, like I don't know what the name of it is.
It's like kind of a desk job, but you're like always in and out of the shop, and you kind of have to know who everyone is.
Yeah, totally.
It would be the job she hates, right? Because you have to talk to so many people.
Oh yes, yeah, definitely. Okay. I feel like she probably does a bit of like tune-ups on the cars, but isn't paid for it. But she kind of likes that. But yeah, she hates the desk job stuff. Absolutely.
Cool. Is it new to you with the letter U? Like.
Oh yeah, it's NEW hyphen the number 2 hyphen the letter U.
Okay.
Nice.
Awesome. And I'm picturing the used car lot in damn it, what's the Schwarzenegger spy movie? True Lies. Is that like just this small, like with a little bit of a shop behind? That's fine. Okay. So
yeah, I haven't seen it, but I'm picturing like some of the concrete of the lot like having just a little tuft of grass like poking through like where the concrete's cracked.
Awesome. Rundown. Cool. Okay. I think that's it for and then I didn't get Ashley's pronouns. What
she here. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Let's jump to Puckett.
I am Synovia.
Mm-hmm.
You may have seen me around campus. You may have been looking at me, but I certainly wasn't looking at you. This place is dreadful, and I strive to avoid the baleful glare of the sun.
Yep.
I'm also a journalism student.
Journalism. Amazing. Let me put she here. All right. Is there anything else we need to know about Synovia and how they present
I like
themselves?
Cats and tarantulas.
Okay.
And although he does not yet know it, I shall marry Andrew Eldridge.
All right. And Andrew. Is that your bond?
No. He's the lead singer of Sisters of Mercy.
Oh my God.
How could you not know such a thing?
I know. All right.
No, my bond
can I
is my
just ask
best friend, Amethestia.
Can I ask that you please make Andrew Eldridge your bond? Oh my God. It's the best game.
Amethestia is my bond, my best friend ever.
Okay.
Because they sell they take the poorly attuned crystals and sell them to the tourists. That's what's in the front of their crystal store.
Okay.
But Amethystia always keeps the good crystals in back for me.
And a
And
mentor.
if ever
Awesome.
I met Andrew Eldritch, I might forget Amethystia exists.
Oh, good. Yeah. You're definitely meeting Andrew Eldritch. That's got to happen sometime now. All right, cool. Mentor, crystal shop. She. Right? I got the pronouns right? Amethyst is she?
They.
They. Sorry. I
Yes.
apologize. They.
You should
Nailed it.
apologize. Amethystia is a wonderful person.
Yes.
And they always make sure to sell the cheap crystals, the poor ones, to the tourists, to the people who come in, and the dilettantes, the dabblers, not the people who truly practice magic.
Well, I mean, they wouldn't get the proper use out of them anyways.
Exactly.
Why would you?
And why would you sell those people the good stuff?
No.
You can mark up the stuff that people who know what they're doing, like myself, would never touch. And you can convince them that somehow it's worthwhile. It's quite a brilliant strategy, really.
They really know what they're doing.
Yes, they do.
All right. So let me see. Is there anything else? No, I think we're good. Which one didn't you take? You did not take Troublemaker. Got it. Pearl, do you want to introduce us to Bailey?
Sure. I'm a bit flustered because I don't know for what reason. I thought we were going to be in high school, so I designed her as a high school student. And my attempts to adjust on the fly really are feeble, I think.
I'm sorry.
Because I would write a college student very differently from a high school student. So she's going to be a bit odd probably for a preppy kid or not kid. See?
Teen?
Whatever she is. But she's a cisgender woman, and she's very feminine, traditional gender norms sort of way. Somewhat coquettish, but probably less so than she was in high school. But she was teased when she was young and sort of at one point reinvented herself because she got tired of being bullied. But she does not want to turn into the bullies. So she doesn't like it when people see her and assume she's like a mean girl, because she isn't. She would never do the same thing that was done to her. But it is assumed anyway because people make a lot of assumptions.
Mm-hmm.
And her mentor, who's also kind of her best friend, is Dr. Pfeffenpfeffer. He's a man, age something between 55 and 100, who somehow teaches both physics and mysticism at our community college.
Mm-hmm.
And he's Bailey's mentor and kind of her best friend. He's a confidant as well as a teacher. She actually knew him before she got into the college because he lives up the street. And when her family moved to town, he brought a really eccentric welcome basket that was intriguing enough that she decided to get to know him. So what I have in the notes is basically imagine something like Back to the Future, only probably we won't go back to the future, but I'm not guaranteeing anything because I don't really know the game system.
No,
and
you're good.
I'd be happy to go back to the future probably. But she doesn't really let on when she's at school that she's best friends with this professor because that would be weird. But they have enough wacky adventures that she kind of wishes she could and probably will one day let it slip. And I had forgotten to add, I don't know how I forgot to add this to the notes, that Andrew Eldritch is his nephew. What a coincidence.
Oh, yeah. Andrew's uncle.
Yeah. So I think that's probably all you need to know about Bailey.
About Bailey and Dr. Pfeff. All right, cool. Let me see if I can pronounce it. Dr. Pfeffenpfeffer? Yes.
Yeah, Pfeffenpfeffer.
Pfeffenpfeffer. Okay. All right. And they're a mentor. Cool. All right. So now what we're going to do is go through and do ties. So ties are a series of questions. You're going to pick one, and we'll go through just like we did. And you're going to pick one, read it aloud, and another player is going to answer that question and any follow-up questions. We'll try to do one per other player, so we'll try to give 3 each. So you're going to be able to skip some of them if you don't like them. If you want to edit any of them, that is fine. Just try to keep them provocative as provocative as you can. But if you do edit them, rewrite them in the notes section or somewhere else, because if you try to write over them, they explode. So, but yeah, we'll go back to the top here, and we'll start with Barry. We'll start with Billy.
I'm looking at my questions and trying to determine which of these I really, really want to ask. I think I want to know who was with me when we hit that chupacabra, and did we stop? If you have a preferred cryptid, we can swap that in for the chupacabra. I just needed one.
Would that be? I feel like we've got the car thing going on, but it makes sense that we'd hit a chupacabra and then have to get some insubstantial damage fixed at new to you.
I want to find another. I want to find a better cryptid to hit than a chupacabra.
Cross out chupacabra here.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I love this name, so I'm going to go with it. Ozark Howler. There we go. I don't know what the Ozark Howler is, but I love its name.
All right. Hit the Ozark Howler.
I don't know what it was doing all the way out here, but...
You hit that Ozark Howler. So we don't know how many Ozark Howlers there are, but you hit that one.
Yes. So did we stop?
How big do you imagine it being? Like, is it the kind of thing where you hit a deer and it fucks you up both? Like, yeah.
It says that the Ozark Howler is cat-like in shape, but has glowing eyes and horns.
Oh god.
Could have been some tire damage or like anything under the body, really.
Totally. I feel like Ashley would stop. Who was driving?
Yeah, that's a good question. I want to think about the. I'm gonna brainstorm what the occasion was that we were driving together. But I think that I think I'm really happy with Ashley being there and us stopping. And I think like I'm picturing the scene of like Billy with the big metal flashlight, kind of like looking around the woods while Ashley kind of like looks underneath the body of the car. So I think we definitely stopped. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
This is like a little bit. I know what you did last summer kind of thing. Like it's disappeared. It's like, oh god.
Yeah.
I have a follow up. Did you find it? Because it lived.
I don't know if we found it, but like the I think that like the look of the eyes is like burned into my rear view mirror. There's just like a pair of dots, like if you like when you look into the sun, just like permanently there in the rear view.
Perfect. Okay. All right. Next up, Ashley.
Oh, should have been more prepared. Well, I don't know. I do have one that is who went on a road trip with me over summer while we still dating by the end.
I mean, there's some definite overlap there.
Otherwise, I like who did I live with for a week when I ran away? That's a cool one too.
I would be happy to sort of take either of those, or to offer that you actually stayed with Dr. Pfeffer, that I like set that up for you. Um, since he has a ridiculous giant house full of ridiculousness, I imagine. But yeah, I would take either the road trip one or the who you stayed with if you like. So
I love the idea of Biff and Pfeffer taking me in thanks to your recommendation.
he's very
spending
friendly.
time, yeah, like spending time there having strangely like colored tea with him and floating teapots and things like that.
Sounds about right.
Rad.
Awesome. Okay, let's see. I'm going to remember these in order eventually. Synovia.
Got to do it. Whose bond am I sleeping with? Do you know?
I don't think it's mine.
It's not Pfeff and Pfeffer?
I don't think so.
He is, after all, an eldritch.
I mean, I feel like you might be trying to befriend him to get to Andy, which is what obviously Dr. Pfeff and Pfeffer calls his nephew. But I don't think you'd want to sleep with someone in the family of someone you want to be with, because then you'd get a little sketch, you know?
Whatever gets me closer to Andrew.
Well, Synovia, I was going to ask what your opinion of left tackles is.
I am staring balefully at the screen.
I mean, you're not wrong.
He does make an okay commission done at the new to you skill.
Does he even know who Peter Murphy is?
Isn't that the shop teacher that got fired like 4 years ago?
I think Synovia would have a different choice of bond mates than a left tackle, as hilarious as that is to think about.
I can for sure see it being Riley as well. I think that'd be rather interesting.
Okay, that actually may make a bit more sense.
I'm very curious to see how that relationship plays out, because Synovia is so different to Riley and vice
Cute
versa.
florals. Well dressed.
You're sleeping with Riley?
I think so. That seems like a good option.
That's okay. I don't care or anything. It's totally fine.
But do you know?
I don't, but if I did, it wouldn't even matter because I wouldn't care.
Awesome.
Ashley.
Okay. I realized I didn't clarify something. So Dr. Pfeff is Andrew's uncle, you said?
Yeah. Andrew Eldridge.
Who was Andrew Eldridge? And Andrew
Sisters of Mercy.
Right.
I threw
Singer
it in
of Sisters of Mercy.
Yes. Okay. I was like, I know it's on here somewhere.
It's just a little Easter egg.
Yeah. Thank you. Perfect. Okay. Man, I'll get there. Okay, cool. So now we're on to Bailey.
The one I'm most interested in is who found that dark grimoire with me and which one of us was more tempted by it. Nobody wants to have found a grimoire with me? Really?
I was waiting for Sinovia to speak up on it because otherwise, I've seen Evil Dead. I know how this works out. I'm into it.
I have now recovered from the Bauhaus comment.
In the middle of High Street.
So that does make sense. Also, it might get her closer to Dr. Pfeffenpfeffer and therefore Andrew Eldridge.
True.
Oh Lord. Okay.
I am a woman with goals.
I can tell.
I have a mission.
But what I would say is the surprising thing in this, I think, is that I was more tempted by the Dark Grimoire than you were. Because I have been living this like preppy, cutesy lifestyle that I adopted to stop being bullied, but I'm not actually that cutesy inside. And like it kind of, like I saw it and I just imagined like no more ankle socks or knee socks and like whatever else. And I was like, with magic, no one could bully me and I could have my own style.
Frankly, Bailey, I've already been touched by the darkness. So
I'm
its
sure.
allure perhaps has less of a hold on me than it might on you. Its siren's call might sing louder to you because you haven't heard it yet.
Sounds good to me.
Did you keep the grimoire? Like, where did
Obviously.
it end up, Bailey?
I kept it, obviously.
Okay.
I'm not going to be that tempted by a grimoire and then just discard it.
Awesome.
I mean, honestly, who discards a grimoire?
Nobody who doesn't want to get cursed.
But who would do that? It's a grimoire.
I mean, somebody had to, because we found it. But that person is presumably cursed. So,
And probably tremendously unhappy.
That's kind of how curses work, unless they're like really bad curses. Like, I curse you to have butterflies follow you around all day long or something. But
I mean,
usually a curse would be bad.
that might be pretty bad for Sinovia.
That would be bad for me. But mostly because I'm allergic to butterflies.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So we know what happened with the grimoire. You still have it, and I think we might have to find out where, but later. So let's go back to Billy, and what's your next question?
My next question is, who ruined my chance at a scholarship and how? And I think that there's enough on the table here to suggest that it's probably an athletic scholarship that I missed out on.
I have an idea, but I feel like it's weird.
Bring it.
I was having a really bad day, and feeling like really like not self-esteemy, and all kinds of things. And it was like a day that you had a game that you maybe didn't know that recruiters were coming. But I invited you over. I'll say in hopes of seducing you. You can decide whether it was successful or not. But to like cheer myself up, I wanted some attention. And you ended up missing the game. And therefore, the recruiter never saw you play.
Suited up for the second half. By then, the 42-0 deficit that we were in at that point was just not going to happen. No, I like that. I like that.
Yeah, you can decide whether or not the seduction was successful. I don't want to like impose that upon you, but that was the attempt. That was the or intent rather.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna think about the answer to that. But I like that as a. I like that poor Billy was tempted.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So let's jump to Ashley.
Let's do it. Let's do who do I have a crush on? What would I have to do to get you to notice me?
mean, who do you think you have a crush on?
I could see it being any of these wonderful cast. Like, I can see a case for Billy because it's like kind of like I really don't want to crush on Billy. Like he's a bro next door type. Like that's not me. I can also see it kind of like sharing a dark connection with Synovia and being intrigued by dark things, even though I've yet to experience them. And then I feel like Bailey and Ashley share a potential bond after spending time together, and you like really helped me out. I was in a tough spot, and I just haven't been able to forget that. So like I could see like literally anyone.
If you have a crush on Synovia, I suspect it's more that you have a crush on pale things than dark things.
Truth.
What do you think about like since we've got the tie of like we're spending enough time together that we're just like driving around and getting in accidents, like I think that I see you in a very different way, like especially with the new to you connection, like you know, you just it's like work with my buddy Kyle, like I think that I just like I've like compartmentalized like that from like our friendship or something. What do you reckon of that?
As in like we do have I do have a crush on you or not?
Well, I was reading the part about like what would I have to do to get you to notice me, and so that's what that's kind of like where I was leaning, and I'm not sure what that is yet.
Oh, I see. Yeah, no, I feel like it totally makes sense because it's that kind of classic like you see me outside of school time, like the other side of me that isn't just like super angry. and what did you notice? Yeah, maybe it is that sort of like you compartmentalize that kind of thing, or you sort of like discount it or overlook it or don't see it because you become kind of like.
If we had a high school connection, it could be one of those things where like you would just like fallen in with the football gang and stuff, and like it sounds like from a gender presentation standpoint, it sounds like you are I'm not seeing it in the style here now, but combat boots, leather. Okay,
Oh, yeah,
so like there's like a definite like mask presentation, which I think that like in the social dynamic of like all of these football guys and stuff, like if you're like football guys and motorheads and stuff, that I probably think of you as like as more of a as one of the guys like for as wrong as that like perspective is here, but yeah, like if I've compartmentalized that off, but what would it take for me to get to notice you? Well, I think that like you changing the like the parameters of the relationship such that like if it was like more in the academic realm or something, because like I am trying, but like I'm still just Billy. I'm still just Billy Cardenas, like number 44 or appropriate quarterback number.
Right, I dig that a lot.
So you have to try to engage Billy's mind.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, that's amazing.
All right. Cool. All right. Who's up next? That would be Synovia.
Who did I unexpectedly stick up for? Had you seen anyone use like magic like that before?
What? You stuck up for someone using magic? Is that the implication?
I believe so.
I unexpectedly stuck up for someone. Who was it? Which one of you did I protect? And had you ever seen anyone using magic like that?
Could have been me. Maybe someone tried to take the grimoire and you like warded them off, which only made me like more obsessed with the grimoire.
I protected your attraction to the darkness. Yes.
So that appeals to me. That I wouldn't have expected you to act on my behalf. And perhaps you didn't. Perhaps you were actually protecting the grimoire. But in my mind, you protected me, and therefore...
I must always nurture someone's connection to the darkness.
Seems legit.
Can I ask a follow-up there? Was it someone you knew who was trying to steal the grimoire, or was it the owner of the grimoire had come back for it? Like, was it another prep who was like, "Oh, what are you doing with this garbage?" Or
I was assuming it was like a strange presence.
So
that,
like something came back for the grimoire.
Yeah, like we were looking at it, and then like an unknown assailant came.
Not bullies trying to play keep away with it or something like that, like your former friends deciding the best thing they could do to lure you back into their realm of pastels and polo shirts was to take that book away from you.
I don't think I would have shown them the book. I don't introduce them to Dr. Pepper either.
You lead a very compartmentalized life.
I really do.
You're a secret scientist. All right, cool.
Nobody knows quite how much weirdness is going on with Bailey.
I can't wait for
them to find out. So would you say that you study weird science?
Weird thaumaturgy. All right, cool. So something or some strange assailant tried to take the book back, and you guys were able to fend them off. All right. Did you get a good look at them, or was it sort of like a mystery?
I will leave that to Zenobia in terms of, I don't know what kind of magic Zenobia does and how fast it would have.
Oh, yeah. And you did some strange magic there.
I unleashed my power, like Jean Grey as Dark Phoenix. I was unconcerned with their appearance or identifying them. I merely wanted them to go away. And they did. Where? I don't know. I don't think it's this dimension.
What color light like blasted out of you when you did that?
I think it was a deep, dark red that was so dark it was nearly black.
Mm-hmm.
And I suspect it almost had a texture to it, like crushed velvet.
Awesome. Okay, cool. And then Bailey.
Let's see. I'm on the wrong person. That is not me. Okay, here we go. None of these go with my character in my mind. I should have looked at them. Okay. Who was in the young leaders with me? Did you resent my success?
I would love to be in the young leaders with you.
Okay.
I don't know if my interest in young leaders was genuine. I think that this was like a guidance counselor like recommendation of you should probably like have some activities on your you should probably have some activities that you can talk about like besides your underwhelming transcript.
So does that mean you didn't care enough to have resented my success, I imagine? Because you were just kind of showing up?
what do you think success looks like for you in that?
I don't know what Young Leaders really is. I assume
Neither
it's
do I.
some kind of like program for bright young kids who are doing something, but I don't know what they would be doing. I was in the natural helpers in high school, which was like people that your peers could come talk to if they had a problem, like safe people to check. But I don't think it's the same thing.
Young Leaders is not defined, but I've always seen it as like teaching kids about politics.
Mm.
So I think Bailey probably has some pretty strong political opinions and would have been pretty invested, and therefore like done a lot of research and been like really well prepared. So I imagine that's what my success would look like.
Okay, so I think that what I resent about your success is that it sounds like you did a lot of hard work, but like that's not evident, like in the balloting or the end result of your efforts. Like I don't think that I was invested enough in a way that like I actually learned like what the hard work is. I just see you like achieving this, achieving your successes, and thinking like, oh, why does everything come so natural to like the rich girl?
That sounds perfect. Okay, cool. So you did resent their success. And Barry, we're back to you. Or Billy, we're back to you.
Okay, so I have a tie with Ashley and with Bailey. So, Synovia, I would love to know which of these you would most like to occupy. Who did I take to prom, and did we leave together? Who spent the night with me when that spirit was haunting me? And a side question for that: did you make that spirit haunt me in the first place? Or finally, who do I love and why can't we be together? Any of those jumping out at you, Puckett?
The one that really jumps out at me is basically kind of like acting almost as a guard for the spirit. But I think it'd be that's the one that I like, but I think the one that would be more interesting and offer more dramatic possibilities is that you confided in me who you love.
That I confided in you who I love. Interesting.
Right.
Yeah, because it's like, let's be blunt. A jock is probably not going to be that interested in a goth girl. But you might think that I could offer some, like the two of us wouldn't be hanging out that much. So you might think I could offer you some advice on something like the down low about what to do. Almost kind of like a Cyrano de Goth situation.
I'm into that. I'm not quite sure what to do with the I'm not quite sure what to do with the object of my affection in that case.
Yeah, I think when oh, go ahead.
What if it's your former left tackle?
Mm.
And you tell the goth, because if the goth says anything, who's going to believe them?
Oh, that's good.
And I like that.
Yep.
That also makes time at the new to you car shop really awkward.
Yeah, that's amazing. Perfect.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let me just let me lay this out now. So Ashley has a crush on Billy. Billy has a crush on Kyle. Do we have a triangle? I don't think we do yet. No. Okay.
I don't know if I have a crush on Kyle, but
sorry.
I love Kyle.
You loved Kyle in high school.
I love Kyle, and I didn't. Not necessarily like past tense. I think that there's a game. I'm going to play a game of Starcrossed with Billy and Kyle, and we're going to see how many bricks I end up pulling before the tower falls. This may be the situation where the tower never falls and we never act on our feelings. The saddest ending.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's but having Synovia as like a treating Synovia as a confidant, I think, for that is amazing.
Yeah, that's
Would that make me something of a goth between?
Oh, Puckett, I love you.
awesome. Okay. Uh, so Ashley, you got one more.
Yeah, this might be a bit too on the nose, but I like to think that if Zenobia is okay with this, she understands the genius of my favorite band, the Angry Possums. Hey, perhaps we share a taste of music.
Are they goth?
Yeah, definitely.
Then we can understand. Then we can share an interest in music.
Okay,
Excellent.
Googling Angry Possums just gets you pictures of possums. So-
Good.
Look, it's a
in case
gimmick band,
anyone-
and they really stick to the gimmick, but they're
Yeah.
good, okay?
Just in case
Exactly.
anyone was wondering.
Yeah, they're for sure like very goth. They probably have a bit of like angry punk in there as well, mostly goth.
Joy Division had angry punk as well. There is
Oh,
no.
yeah.
I see no problem here. There is no conflict.
Excellent. In fact, Joy Division's probably a very good reference for how they sound, definitely.
Or early damned.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So so we have the answer to that one. And Synovia, you get one more.
Allow me to slide back over to my questions.
I love Synovia so much.
Who got caught ditching with me? What did we see that we don't talk about? And I believe there's only one person left.
Yeah. Well, if we've established that we have this this kind of like down low relationship, so getting caught is interesting. Getting caught ditching is interesting. And what we see that we don't talk about. What do you think about like who caught us or the circumstances in which we got caught?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and suggest. So, Synovia works at a coffee shop called This Caffeination, after the Sisters of Mercy song, This Corrosion. So it would not surprise me if we were hanging out there because you felt comfortable and safe, because honestly, who do you know that would go there? So you thought it was someplace safe for you where you could talk about your feelings and such things, but unexpectedly, what if it was Dr. Pfeffenpfeffer?
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, like that really brings down the stakes of being caught. Like he sees these two high school kids in a coffee shop in the middle of the day. College kids in the middle of the day. Like, so what? Also, like, no one cares about college kids ditching class. That's their own. Sorry, I have personal experience.
Understood.
But no, like that brings it still brings the stakes of like being caught way down. Other than it's someone in the setting, which is cool.
Well, and I think that he came in to try to buy some loose leaf chamomile tea. And I had to explain to him that we only sell gunpowder tea and Earl Grey, and anything lighter than that is just insufficiently dark for us to bother with.
So what did we see that we don't talk about? Like, might the doctor have I don't know what the
Can I drag something?
idea? I want to hear it.
If I can, I would like to drag something in from my personal history.
Please.
I had an amazing professor, and I think that I don't know if he actually was gay, but he was well into his late 70s, was single, had no pets, and drove himself to the opera in a Rolls Royce. And I'm wondering, what if Dr. Pfeffenpfeffer came in with a date? Basically along the same thought process that you had. Who on earth would see him here that he would know?
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Awesome. Who was Dr. Pfeffenpfeffer's date? I feel like there's more syllables that I'm dropping.
Let's see who. Let's. Oh my God. It's got to be Amethestia.
Oh my. Okay. Yeah.
Does that kind of make him a creeper? Because he is my mentor and best friend.
So Amethestia is also a mentor. Did you give us an age?
They could be north. They could be north of 30, north of 35, north of 40. They could be north of whatever age they would need to be to still be a mentor to someone at a community college, and yet be able to date someone who is a professor without that professor seeming like a creeper or a predator.
Okay.
But it
Also,
just it seems really, really weird.
Half age plus 7.
Yeah,
they're both old. They're both old to us. That's not weird.
I mean, if you're 18, 19, like anything over 30 is old.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Like Dr. Pfeffenpfeffer, we've been told, is anywhere between 55 and 90 or 100. Is that right, Pearl?
Yeah, I think it was 50 to 100, right?
So, I mean, honestly, anything, if we're assuming 50 is a floor, anything north of 35 is okay, because by that point you're pretty much who you are and you know what you want and whatnot. Yeah. So it's much less predatory than it would be. You know, and we can just
and I think we've kind of established that they might have some common interests.
Might be. Maybe she sells him stock from the back room as well.
Does teach mysticism as well as physics.
Maybe that's how they met. He went into the crystal shop and Amethestia offered him something up front and he scoffed at it and said, please, this is clearly cracked. And the attunement on it is amateurish at best. Why don't you show me the real stock? And Amethestia raised an eyebrow at him. And perhaps that's how it began.
Excellent.
He's probably a little more ranty than that, but yes.
Busting in the door.
Like, no, just like picks up the attunement of this is all off. How can you not tell that if you sell this to someone who knows what could happen? That kind of thing. You know.
A little more Bernie Sanders.
Only think
Doctor sounds bad for
future.
business.
I think Back to the Future.
Cool. All right. So I think that's great. I love that connection. Bailey, we get one more question from you, and then we'll take a little break.
Okay. So I had picked one. Let me find it again. So my last person would be Ashley. And I'm thinking, since you wrote about like needing to have multiple jobs and all these other things, there's one, which of you did I give money to when you were in a jam, and did you try to pay it back?
Yeah, perfect. I could totally also picture it happening in that sort of week I ran away from home almost, or another incident.
Sure, like got you hooked up with Dr. Pfeffenpfeffer and like gave you some money.
Totally.
I would not have asked for it back, so that whether you tried to give it back or not is totally up to you. But
I think Ashley would have, like, she would have pulled like overtime shifts when you got a job, you know, and like probably took a while to pay you back, and maybe you forgot about it. And we're like,
I think I probably would have tried to stop you.
Yes,
I know your circumstances, but if you considered it like a matter of honor or whatever else, I wouldn't like refuse if it was going to insult you. But I was certainly not like looking to get it back. I was happy to loan it out. So
I like that heaps.
This is all perfect. I love this. Cool. So that brings character creation to a close. Went a little longer than I thought we were going to do, but the ties are the meat of this thing. So I have plenty to turn into a session here. So let's take 10. It's actually 7:50 for me. So we'll come back on the hour and pick up with about an hour of game. Awesome. Thanks, everybody. We'll be right back. And we're back. I'm not going to redo everything. We're at a tea shop. And Dr. Pfeffenpfeffer is talking about a book. Sweet. Sorry, Gauntlet viewers. So, listen, the incantations in those types of tomes are, I don't know, addictive. You've seen the ads. They're garbage, of course, but the whole don't be tempted, see something, say something,
I quite like reading the book. I don't know what you're talking about.
I assumed you might, but if your resistance to it, if you are able to part with it, is impressive, Bailey. I am impressed.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. You're quite
I
skilled.
wouldn't want it to fall into the wrong hands.
No, nor I. And that is why I've called you all together. When I heard that the Cabal was interested in the new to you used car sales shop, I did a little digging, and it seems that young Kyle has he's done a bit of dabbling just to increase his sales.
Where did he get the spells?
I don't know. But these cabals are always recruiting anyone with a need. Perhaps they reached out to him. When I realized that the incantations he'd been using, I do apologize. No one here should say that I have been snooping around the new to you. I didn't have strict permission to go through their things. But when I did discover Kyle's notes, I realized they were quite similar to your own grimoire.
Okay, pausing again, sorry. Do I know him or not?
Kyle?
Yeah.
I don't know that you do. You probably went to high school together?
Okay.
I definitely like that his name would have come up at least once, being that like, oh, Kyle and Jimmy and Zach and like all of the like all the guys on the team, like they're counting on me. The day
we're
that,
not like friends, right?
no, but like you like when I step up to defend him, like it might like it might dawn on you that like, oh, it's one of Billy's old football buddies.
It was more just for fictional, but like, might he have been at my house? Might he have, like, you know what I mean? I was just trying to figure out whether he would have access to the book. Okay. Well, that seems very odd that they would be similar. Are there a bunch of the same one? I thought grimoires were pretty personal, really.
Well, based on my study, all of the knowledge in these types of grimoires are gifted by the darkness. And while the annotations may be different, the underlying power is the same.
Well, I think I saw an incantation in the grimoire that might help me investigate this situation. Perhaps I should find out what Kyle's been up to.
I advise against using any of the incantations in that grimoire. Can't be good for you.
Investigate, you say?
Yes.
I can help with this.
Can you? I was hoping.
Yes, I'm taking my first journalism class right now.
Okay. I mean, sure.
I can help you investigate. I can find clues.
Excellent. I perhaps we should start with Kyle. Go and ask him some questions. I thought perhaps it would be better coming from a friend than just a stranger. I am to believe that you are on the same team, correct? Or you were friends, right? In high school, you were on a team together, Billy?
Yeah, but what does that have to do with anything?
Well, I just
Kyle's he's smart and he's capable, and he can take care of himself. And I don't know, Sin. I think it might not be a great idea to go investigating things about Kyle.
I think at the mention of like he's smart, like I think like Ashley snorts and kind of rolls her eyes a bit and mutters under her breath something like, "Yeah, but like not smart enough to stand at the fucking like dark grimoire."
As I said, these things can get very addictive, drawing on these sorts of powers, especially if you're not as if you don't have a steel mind, which doesn't sound like Kyle does. So I just thought maybe we could, broach the subject from a friend, find out who he's been talking to, where he may have gotten something like this.
I could just, do a little incantation. There are a couple that could come in handy. I read the whole thing. There are lots of kinds of spells in there.
There are, yes. Of course, as previously mentioned, those powers do come from a dark place, and I'd hate for you to get caught up in anything you weren't prepared for.
I mean, I haven't noticed any ill effects so far.
Oh,
that's quite true, Professor. I've been paying fairly close attention to Bailey, and although the power is coming from a dark place, she appears to be weathering it quite well, certainly as well as any of us could have.
I've never been better, in fact.
That's troubling.
I mean, Bailey, just look at her. Clearly, she has never been better.
And I think he starts like snapping at the sides of your face, like trying to like check you and see, are you reacting differently? Is there anything going on in there?
That's super annoying.
No,
Is that what you're going for? I mean, snapping in someone's face. Do you like it?
No, I of course not. You're correct. I apologize. I thought we talked about how dangerous it was.
Yeah, but you didn't say not to use it. You just said it was dangerous. You didn't say it's dangerous and you shouldn't use it.
Yes, but usually when someone says that something is dangerous, it means don't do it.
Have you met you?
Well, sure, but I've spent a long time getting here.
Not by not doing dangerous things.
She's right, Professor. We all know what happened back in 1982.
Quite true. And, I mean, you've blown up something in your house at least 3 times that I can remember in the last month and a half.
And we heard about what happened in 1977 when you blew up an entire wing of the school and they had to rebuild it magically.
Well,
I've just been casting a few little incantations here and there. Nothing terrible.
They were barely cantrips, Professor.
Yeah, really.
All right. Well, we'll come back to that. In the meantime, I would like to check on your friend, and he turns back to you, Billy.
I'm actually gonna stand up in his face, and I'm gonna say, look, if the problem is something that's going on with my friend, I don't know why you had to drag all of these, drag Bailey and Ashley into this. This is it. You could have just come to me about this. Instead, you're going and sticking your nose into all kinds of people's business and running your mouth all over town, and I want to get in his face and I want to bully him in order to fit in at the table here.
Yeah,
because I sense a lot of discomfort with what he's like bringing and asking.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. So you like jump up. Are you actually going to try to intimidate him, or are you just?
I want to use a mechanic in this game because I am a perpetual dice roller. So
yeah. So if you're trying to like intimidate him or bully him, then I think let's see what's at stake here. What's your goal with bullying him?
I think I want him to butt out of it and let me take care of my friend.
Okay. All right. So you want him to drop it.
Yeah.
I think what's at stake here then is he doesn't involve you at all and goes on investigating this on his own.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool.
So you could roll sway here.
Okay.
Unless you're like threatening him with physical violence.
No, I think we're in sway territory right now. Do I get a heart for bullying him now?
So yeah, you do gain a heart. You do gain a heart when you bully someone.
Okay. Sweet.
What we didn't do is at the start of this scene, set your character's emotional state. So what was your emotional state at the start of it, like when you showed up at the shop?
Well, I'm going to stick with the color of my hat because I picked that not on purpose, but now it's on purpose. So I'm going to go with blue. Like, it's weird to me that this like professor of mysticism is like getting in touch with me out of the blue. Like, I'm just a freshman in learning some simple ledgering right now. So yeah, I think like surprised, scared is like, I think that fits.
Perfect. Okay, cool. So how do you feel about this action specifically?
Ooh. I think that I've probably like gotten away with like throwing my weight around like this, but like in the middle of like, so why don't you just like butt out of this? It occurs to me that I don't know what he could do to me.
Right. So are you sticking with a little scared or?
Yeah, I think a little scared sounds great.
Okay, cool. So anytime you roll your emotional state, you're going to mark stress on that emotion.
Okay, so I don't actually roll sway on this, or question mark?
So you roll sway and you roll your trait and your emotion, and you keep the higher of the two dice.
Gotcha. But I mark stress on this because I'm in this and I'm rolling it.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have a roll for your party or anything?
Yeah. It's in the it's on the NPCs and notes towards the bottom.
Cool. Thank you. This will take me a very long time. So I get a D6 and a D8. And tell me how heart works again.
So you can spend heart after you roll to re-roll your dice. If you ever get double ones, though, that's snake eyes, and you're stuck with the roll.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. I've got a D6 and a D8, and I'm gonna make these a color, and I'm gonna roll these. Cool. So I got a 1 and a 7.
Okay, cool. So you keep the 7. So the brackets, there's some we have the variable success in this game, like PBTA would. So the brackets are 4+ is your 7 to 9. 8+ is your 10+ result, and then a 12+ is like great effect. It's like a crit.
Okay, so I could spend that heart that I got for bullying him to bump that to an 8.
So you could spend it to re-roll the dice.
Oh, to re-roll the dice. Okay.
Unless you have, I think one of you might have the thing where when you spend heart to re-roll, you get +2.
Oh, I don't have that.
It looks like.
Yeah, no, I'll just keep the 7.
Cool. All right. So yeah, so you're so it's a mixed result. So I think you get him to back off a little bit, right? You wanted him to sort of to back off and let you handle this on your own. But it still sort of generates a complication for you. So I think what he does is I think he's going to try to, I think it inflicts a condition, right? Because I think he lets slip that he knows more, but that you can try to figure it out on your own. And so I think this like leaves you with that, oh crap, I think I just ran off the guy who might know how to help my friend feeling, right? But you get to say what that condition, how it's phrased, but it'll be an emotional condition.
Okay.
So the way taking conditions works is when you receive a condition, this might be like embarrassed or whatever, however you want to phrase it, that fits. You want to put that on an emotion that's opposite to the consequence, because you're going to lose access to that emotion while it has a consequence on it.
Okay. So what I'm thinking is, and you can tell me if this works for you for Dr. Pfeffenpfeffer, but like, what if the complication is, you know what? You're right. And maybe Kyle will be fine kind of thing, but like he does butt out in that, in that like unhelpful way.
Mm-hmm. So
Like where would a condition like who cares about who cares about that young man anyway?
Okay.
Where might that fall?
Yeah.
Because that sounds like it's violet, which would indicate to me that like the condition goes against red.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
Yeah. That
Kyle
or yellow could work too.
Okay, I'm gonna say Kyle who.
Yeah.
Or I'm gonna put it in orange. Cool. Because like if he doesn't if he's like gonna like just kind of like turn his back to like the idea of helping my friend because I apparently know better, then like he's turning vigilance away from that kind of makes, I think that makes sense to me.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay. So you've got this condition that so that's going to manifest as you feeling like you can't go for help, right? Cool. All right. Now you can resist conditions in this game by anteing 3 heart and rolling psych for emotional conditions and bod for physical conditions if you want. So if you don't want to have that condition
right now.
Yeah. All right, cool. So that happens. So he backs down, like you get in his face and he's like surprised and he like jumps back and he's like, clearly I've overstepped. I've said too much. Bailey, I apologize. And Billy, it seems like you have everything under control. I hope your friend is okay. And he turns to leave.
I just don't know why you couldn't have talked to me first, like privately, before.
Well, this involved several parties. I
said first, not only.
You're right.
I thought we were tight, you know?
We are. This is
spring this whole thing on me with all these people and like expect me to just know how to react in the moment.
No, and look, you're right. I was too rash, and I should have come to you first. But I feel like perhaps this was a mistake, and I should get going.
I mean, we can talk about it later, right?
If you would like, I suppose.
Okay, dude.
You're always welcome here, Professor. I think you know that by now, but sometimes people who bury their heads in books forget how to read people's hearts.
Thank you, Synovia. That was very deep. Yes, of course, Bailey, you are welcome at my... I think he probably calls his house his shop. You are welcome at my shop anytime. And he turns and goes to walk out of here, leaving you guys alone.
Don't you think that was kind of harsh, Billy?
Oh, the nerve of that guy. You know Kyle. He's not going to get himself into any kind of real trouble.
Yeah,
Billy,
I know Kyle.
We all know Kyle. Kyle can easily get himself into trouble without even realizing that he's done it.
I mean, he's
Look.
certainly going to get himself into trouble if he's been looking through my book.
This is not about you, Bailey, for once, okay? Just back off.
Bailey walks out of the coffee shop.
Awesome. And there were 3. Do we want to end that scene there, or does anybody else want to add anything else there?
I still have some customers that I need to take care of in the shop.
Heck yeah.
I think, yeah. So I think it closes with Synovia getting back to work, and we're almost to 9:00. So do we want to call it there?
Really quickly, I just want to walk over to them and inquire how their beverages are.
And I think the guy is he looks up and he's like, I mean, it's yeah, it's really good. Thank you.
And I turn to her and say, and you?
Oh no, this was transformative. I'm definitely like, this is.
You really don't like him much, do you?
No, but I mean, he paid, and
he's not getting a second date, is he?
And she looks at him, and he's like, oh. And she's like,
Don't worry. I thought something like that was going on. So before I served your drinks, I cast a little spell. He won't even remember your name. He's going to forget this place exists. But that means you can come back anytime, and you never have to worry about running into him here.
Well,
and I wouldn't mind seeing you again.
Are you flirting with her?
I do believe that flirting is a word that could be used to describe the situation, yes.
Is Backstreet Lover coming up right now?
You know, hang on a second, let me flip over.
Because this is a preppy chick.
You know, I'm not sure whether this is, I don't think I'm using my bad rep here, but I think I am showing somebody that love doesn't need to fit their other people's expectations.
Yeah, I think so too. And so she's sort of like, she looks over at the guy, and she's like, I don't know if we named him, but she's just like, you know, thank you. Oh, Corey. Thank you, Corey, for choosing this place. I really appreciate it. I can just get up. He won't notice or anything. And she looks back at you.
Oh, he'll notice. I mean, the spell, it takes a little bit to kick in, but after an hour or two, he's going to forget.
And he's just like dumbfounded. And she's like, oh, okay. Well, Corey, this has been great. I think the date's over. So if you want to go, I'll actually get the tab. You don't have to deal with that. And she looks back up at you and she goes, when do you get off?
Well, it closes at 8, but you don't have to go.
No, I don't think I do.
I left the kettle on.
And she like leans back into the chair and she's like, you can go. And it's like, and he like, I guess this is it. And he like gets up and leaves. Awesome. Yeah. So it like settles back. I think we come in with some, maybe some like gothy love song.
The Cure's love song came out in, what was that, 89?
We can fudge it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that like kicks over. It's like the only other song that plays in this place. And so yeah, so that comes on, and the scene fades out, and yeah. So we're coming up on 9. Do we want to do a quick debrief, and then we'll pick up next session and see what happens to poor Kyle? Awesome. Okay. So I am going to stop the recording, and then if you guys have time, we can do some like stars and wishes kind of thing. Okay, cool. All right. Well, this was a Gauntlet game. So if you like Gauntlet stuff, go to gauntlet-rpg.com. Org? One of those. And check it out. Thanks. Oh, how do I stop the recording?